this your father in your profile picture? Okay. Very reserved, don't want to tell me. Okay. All right. Now, okay, let us start with a quadratic function. So, for quadratic function, right, the main thing is sketching of graph. Okay, because quadratic equation and function we have differentiated, right? Um, since the very first part of this chapter, okay, I have already told you that you have to differentiate between these two. Okay, the reason is that without knowing the difference of these two, right, then it's very easy for you to make mistakes, especially equal to zero. Okay, let me go straight to, excuse me, my PowerPoint. Okay, today choose what? Choose gray color, yeah, huh? Okay. All right. So today this is a quadratic function. So let's move on. So whenever we talk about this topic, right? Okay. First thing, quadratic equation. Okay. So quadratic equation, we have been doing it for the past few weeks, 2 weeks lah, huh, I guess. Okay. So let me change my color. Okay, so quadratic equation, we have learned the general form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, right? So main thing, why is it an equation? Because you have equal to 0. And then the second thing that you have learned today, it's called quadratic function. So the difference, of course, is between equations and functions. So I can still write my functions in general form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, but instead of writing it become equals to 0, I'm going to write it become equals to fx, or I will write it equals to y. Okay, why? Because that is the difference, the main difference between them. Either they are equals to 0. Okay, I want to write down here all. Okay, so when you write now fx, then it tells you that it is a function that keeps changing. Okay, that's why a function only can form a curve. Okay, whereas this equals to 0, initially also it is y, but just that the y now has become 0. That's why when you are solving quadratic equation, actually you are solving for the y equals to 0. Okay, the y equals to 0, which is the x-axis, which means you are actually solving the roots when you say that it is equal to 0. Do you get me now? Okay, so that is their relation. Okay, when you solve quadratic equation, it is equals to 0, equals to 3, 4, 5. It will tells you it equals to a fixed value. Then that means it is that intercepts that they are looking at. Okay, like here it is equals to 0. That means it is equals to the x-intercept. Okay, which we also call it as the roots. But if you just put it in general that it is a fx or it is a y, that means it is a curve. Why? Because you know that when you have your table, okay, whereby when you have your x changing, you will have your y changing as well, isn't it? Your x can be any domain that is interested, -2, 0, 2, 4, isn't it? So any number that you put in, you will always have the y. That's why you can plot it become a curve. Is that okay? All right. So today we will mainly focus on quadratic function. Okay. So this is our topic today. Now, quadratic function, we start from this general function already. Okay. Let me add a new slides to that. I want to go on with vertex form. Do you remember that when you learn quadratic equation, right? The very first part also you learn vertex form, right? So what is vertex form? Can anybody tell me? What is vertex form? Quadratic function. Anyone? What is a vertex form? How do you do a vertex form? Okay, so I'll write it here first, that we write it fx equals to ax squared, okay, plus bx plus c. Okay, so when we talk about quadratic function, the very first part we are dealing with this one, the vertex form. Okay, so let me write it here, that the first part that we want to see is what we call as the vertex form. Vertex form, you will always have your general one. Wait, there's someone coming out. Okay. Okay, somebody in. Sorry, let's go back. All right. So vertex form here means we will have the general rules, the general form, which is A bracket X plus P square plus Q. So this is your vertex form. All right. So vertex form mainly is to express in this form. Then you call it a vertex form. Why? Because they can give you the vertex. What does it mean by they can give you the vertex? The vertex will be either happy face or sad face, right? Okay. So this is called the vertex form because you are able to tell what is the vertex. So the vertex here means the vertex here refers to your minimum point or your maximum point. Is it clear? So when you have your, this is something basic lah, huh? Most of you are okay already one. So this is minimum point when you have a happy face, when your A is more than 0. When your A is less than 0, you have this, we call it as maximum point. Okay, and then the next thing that you can know from the vertex form is that when your x plus p equals to 0, that's how you can tell that the x is actually negative p, which will be your x for your maximum point. And then the q will be your y coordinates. So let's say maximum point here, you will have negative p comma q. Okay, so the q straight away put in. All right, so let's say I give you an example here. Say I have 3x plus 4 square plus a 10. Okay, are you going to tell me that you need to expand? Okay, no need, right? Because this is vertex form. If I'm asking you for the turning point, okay, so turning point means what? Turning point you have learned, right, in modern maths. Okay, so turning point is either one of these. It's the general name for either minimum or maximum. Okay, the reason is it is the point that it turns, the gradient turns. Okay, so they can either ask you for it will be meaning minimum or maximum. You need to know in your mind. So this means the same when they were like, they don't want to give you a hint that it's maximum or minimum, so they will ask you for a turning point. Okay, so they can ask you for turning point or stationary point. It means the same. Okay, so now if this one they ask you for the stationary point, turning point, that means you will tell them that because your A is positive, right? So you know that it's a minimum one. Okay, so you know that it's a minimum point. Okay, so your minimum point you will tell in this way. Okay, your minimum point will be straight away you take from here. So you write minimum point is, okay, what do you have here? X plus p equals to 0. So x plus 4 equals to 0. X is negative 4. Just balik. Okay, then this one, what do you have last? 10. So just write down 10. Okay, and if another example they gave you negative 4, okay, and then x plus 9. Okay, let's change to minus 9. okay, minus 9 square, and then they give you plus k minus 8. Okay, so this one, you know the a, right? The a is less than 0, so it's a maximum point here. So this is the maximum point, right? And then you know that it will be 9 here. And then what is the p? Now, what is the q, which means the y coordinates of this maximum point? Can you just take k, or can you just take minus 8? No, right? We have to take the whole thing, which is k minus 8, or whatever. If this is a minus, you carry together the minus. Is that okay? It's just the whole thing. All right, so this is about the information that you can get from a vertex form. It's very powerful. So how to get this, how to change the quadratic function into vertex form? Anyone? How to change this quadratic function into vertex form? Anyone? You have to do completing the square, right? So come to talk about completing the square. So what is the sharat? What is, what do you call that? The requirement, okay? So to achieve to, so to change this to here, you will have to do the completing the square, okay? So completing the square, how do you first start? Remember, first step is the a must always be equals to 1, okay? And the b, second step is a must be equals to 1. Second step is you make sure that you change to a big bracket square plus a small bracket square plus c. Do you remember that? Okay, and then what is inside the big bracket square? It will be x plus b over 2. And then this one, oh, sorry. This one should be a minus, right? Okay, this one should be a minus, okay? Big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. So what is inside this small bracket? Also b over 2, okay? So I repeat, the second step is big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. So what is inside the big bracket? X plus b over 2. And then this one also b over 2. The b is from the general form, the b, okay, which is this b here. Okay, then the third step is you have to, what should you do for the third step? The third step is to get them into this form, which is the a, and then you will get into x plus p squared then plus q. Am I right? Meaning you will just put in the p. Can I just change to, we have b over 2 here, okay? And then this one just simplify, okay, so that both of these become the c. So far, is it okay? Yes or no? Can
Yes.
I see thumbs up? Yeah. Thank you, Kaylee, for the response. How about the rest? Wait, let me check
Wait,
here.
teacher.
Oh, good morning, Jasrine. You are in.
Teacher.
Yes.
So negative b over 2
Okay,
square
thank you.
plus c
Yeah.
equals to plus q.
Mm-hmm. Come again. Yeah.
No, yeah, the negative b over 2 square plus c becomes a plus q.
Becomes a plus q. Yeah, because the q will be eventually, you have to simplify them to become a number, right? Because this part is going to continue, okay? This part is actually copied down, right? And then you will have, okay, your a, oh, yeah. Actually, this a, because it's 1, so I'm just writing it down here. Okay, wait. Yeah. So eventually, this part that I put the arrow in means you have to actually simplify them. Okay, simplify them and then just write down into this one single number. That's why I put here this bracket. Do you see that? This one you have to simplify and make them into one number. Is it okay? Okay, that's all. Let us continue. Okay, any problem? No, so completing the square,
Wait,
should we
uh,
revise? Yeah, yeah.
sorry. Uh, the way to do you expand this?
Okay, if you were to expand them back, then you are going to get back your quadratic function in a general form. But now remember, we want to, our purpose of doing completing the square is to make it into a vertex form, right? Then only it can tell us all this information one, information two. Then it can tell us to find the turning points. Then it enable us to sketch the graph. So that's the purpose you do completing the square. So there's no point for us to expand it back. Do you understand now? Okay, I will give you an example here.
Okay.
Can we proceed with example? Then you will understand better.
Okay.
Wait, there's someone who came in late. All right, so let's move on to, can you have your paper and your, what do you call it? Admit first. Okay, Manjari is in. How come Manjari need Okay. Okay, you can put down your hand, Michelle, or you have a question. Michelle and Yuan. Okay, right? No problem, So I have Rachel in already. Good morning. Who else do I have? Manjari. Yeah. Oh, okay. She's using outside of the MOE. Okay, no worries. Let's move on. I'll be giving you example so that you will understand better. Okay. Let us deal with one example here, completing the square. Okay. So let's say my fx. Okay, let me give you example not in red so that it won't be so. This one. Okay, let us use blue. Okay. So example. Okay. Let's say I have fx equals to 4x squared plus 18x plus 20. Okay, so how am I going to start? Remember this one, we said that the a must always be equals to 1. So now my a is 4. So how am I going to do? Can I divide by 4? Can or not? Remember, last time when we deal with equation, okay, we divide by 4. The reason here is because here is equals to 0, then we divide by 4, 0 divided by 4, we get 0. But if you were to do it now divided by 4, then your fx also have to divide by 4, which will be troublesome, okay? So what do we do is that we don't divide by 4, okay? Let me take out this, you don't divide by 4, okay? We don't divide by 4, but instead,
Also,
you will do it by factorization. Yes.
teacher, 18 cannot be divided by 4.
No, 4x squared can be divided by 4. 18 cannot be divided by 4. It's okay. But you are going to factorize it out.
Oh,
Okay. So that's why I said that usually when we deal with function, uh, we don't divide by 4. Meaning function should not be simplified. Do you remember the rules? I said function cannot be simplified. Because otherwise, if once you simplified it, then the whole function is not the original one anymore. It's not like your quadratic equation where you can, because it's equals to 0, you can divide by any number. I have repeat this many times. Okay, so I just what do you call that, remind you again that make sure you don't simplify any function, especially when you're doing the chapter 1 function. Okay, so let us try here. The very first step I should do is to factorize out my 4. So when I factorize my 4, right, here left x squared. Okay, when I factorize out this 4, okay, 18 cannot take out 4, so I'm going to make 18 divide by 4, so that when I multiply back, I will get back 18x. Okay, then here 20 and 4, so 20 divided by 4, I can get 5, right? So here will be 5. Is that okay? Then I move on, yeah. So like this kind of cases, 4 must still be there in the every step that you carry. So now we come to the second step. where I'm going to put it become big square minus small square, a big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. So my big bracket square minus my small bracket square plus c. Okay, so now I put in first. Okay, so this is my bracket. So what is my big bracket here? Inside I should put x and then plus. Okay, this one is 18 over 4, right? So I'm going to, that is my b. Okay, can I put in here 18 over 4? Can or not? Can or not? Anyone? Can I just put in 18 over 4? Can or cannot? Can anyone tell me? Can or cannot?
Cannot.
Cannot. Why cannot? Because here it's supposed to be b over 2. And now what you are taking out, what I'm taking out is just b itself only. Do you see that? So cannot. I have to do is 18 over 4 divided by 2. Okay, so if you cannot, you write down here a small, then you change this to 1 over 2, then you can simplify, become 9 over 4. Do you see that? So instead, you should be doing here, divide by 2, and then here you can continue to write down divide by 2 first, okay? And then here is your 5. Okay, everybody clear? So this I purposely write in red so that you will remind yourself. Okay, don't do this mistake. A lot of you, when deal with the B, you get nervous. That's why there's nothing to nervous when you can actually do something of your calculation, or you can press calculator besides it. Okay, so again, big bracket. So here become plus 9 over 2 square minus 9 over 2 square plus 5. So remember the third step. So this one, now I have to make it simplify the back first. So this one, vertex form already achieved. I copy back the big bracket. Now is to deal with this whole thing. Okay, can you straight away say that the minus multiply in? Cannot, right? Because you have the square here. Okay, I have repeat and repeat since last lesson. When you have square, please deal with the square first. Okay, so deal with the square first. So here we're going to deal with the square, which is a pen. Okay, so this one will be minus, continue first. So here 9981 224, then plus 5. So this one calculator, you will have 4 big bracket 9 over 2 square. Okay, this one, can anyone tell me what's the answer here? Press calculator, please. Should you have 1 over 16? Am I right? Is everybody getting negative 1 over 16? Okay, because you will simplify these few terms here, right? So 1 over 16 that you get. Okay, is that the answer? Is that the final answer, my dear? Yes or no? No, isn't it? Why no? Because you haven't expand. You cannot just left your 4 outside. Okay, your 4 has to be expand, multiplied in here, and also the next term. Okay, so you have to expand it. So let me change back to blue and show you that. So you need to have your 4, put it outside. Open up this big bracket. Okay, so your 4 multiply into the first term. You have your, this one, which is your x plus 9 over 2 square. Then this one also multiply in, then you get negative 1 over 4. Then only this is the final answer. So can you tell me what's the maximum number? One is the minimum point here, because my A is positive, so I know that this should be a minimum point. So I can tell that my minimum point will be, my x coordinate is negative 9 over 2, and then my y is negative 1 over 4. That's it. Okay? Is it very ugly here? 9 over 2. Let me rewrite it again. Is that clear? Okay. So can I see hands if you can understand this part? Can you please raise your hand? Just do a quick check. Okay, good. Everybody can. Sangeeta, yes, can. Let me stop presenting for a while. I just want to make sure everybody is good. Shazana, okay? Yes, good. All right, let me share screen again. Let's move on. So now I'm done with what do you call this? Vertex form. Okay, so let's go to the next part. So vertex form, the one that you get most is deal with negative lah. Later we will do more questions. Okay, let me go through first. All right. So here we will have let me just repeat one more time that our quadratic, okay, quadratic function. Just now we have done with our, this part is vertex form, right? Okay, where you have learned the quadratic, completing the square and all. The second method that I have to teach you, it's called the intercept form. Okay, so intercept form is the one that you will usually get something like that. Okay, they will tell you fx equals to another one is a, and then they can have that x minus p or x plus p and x plus q. So this is called intercept form. Why is it called intercept form? Because straight away from this expression, you can straight away find out the intercept. Okay, now remember when you find out the intercept, right, you ignore the a. So which means if this is a u-shaped curve, right, you straight away know that, okay, let's say if I have x plus 3 and x plus 5. So when you take out, you know that this is negative 3, one intercept. Oh, sorry, we should write it here. And then negative 5 will be over here. Do you get me? So this is how powerful is the intercept form, which means they straight away give you the intercept, the x-intercept, the roots lah. Okay, then if you want to express it in a general form, then you have to expand it back. Okay, so this is called the intercept form. Okay, when from intercept form, right, if they ask you for minimum point, how do you do it? Okay, can you find minimum point here? Which is here, right? That's the minimum point. How to find minimum point? All of us know, right? Because minimum point is usually the middle of this. So you can find out the x when you add negative 5 to negative 3 and then over 2, which is the midpoint that you are finding. Wait, allow me to spray it for a while. Okay, so that is the way how you can find out minimum point. Okay, so with that you are actually finding out the x only. So how to find out the y length or the fx length? So here you know that it should be negative 8 divided by 2, which give you negative 4. Okay, then to find out the y or the fx, then you substitute this x inside here back. Is that okay? So you're gonna have this one, the x here, substitute back, okay, into here. Then you find out the fx. Is that okay? So that is how useful is the intercept form. All of them are actually interconvertible to each other as long as you expand them. Okay, and then there is one more shortcut. Okay, one more shortcut, meaning you can always find out the minimum or the maximum point when you have something like this. Remember in Form 4, you learn this. Axis of symmetry. Right? Axis of symmetry, which is minus b over 2a. Okay, minus b over 2a. So this one straight away, very quick, you can find out the x coordinate for your minimum point. Okay, so there are 3 methods here. Let me repeat. The first one is vertex form, where you have to do completing the square. Okay, the square. Okay, then you have to have the 3 rules, which is the first one. A have to always equals to 1. Number 2, big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. Number 3 is to express them in the p plus x plus p. Okay, like that. So these are the main concept, okay, of this part. Shall we try to solve questions? Let me see here. Okay, so let me go on to this part. Yeah, Tana, you have question to ask, is it? I saw you raise your hand. Okay, Jasrine, Do you understand better now? Just a quick check. Okay, I think so because she didn't give any response. All right, let's move on.
Teacher, can I see again?
Which one that you want to see again?
The equation. Yeah.
This one?
Yes. Yeah. No. The last one for.
Okay, so this is the
Teacher,
intercept point.
x. Yeah, I know.
This is the x coordinate of the minimum point. Is that okay? This
Teacher,
axis of
can you
symmetry
tell me
is
what's
what you
the
have
base
learned.
formula?
What do you call the base formula?
Is it
What do you mean
like
by
so?
the
It's
base formula?
you take is you find the middle. So -5 plus -3 divided by 2, so that you get the axis of symmetry.
Yeah.
And then after that, -4.
No, not -4. -4 is the x coordinates. Okay. So which means I can put here that, okay, if I were to have this, right, then, okay, or you can always, I give you another example here. If you have fx equals to x minus a, x minus b, then in order to find out the minimum point, the x, then it will be a plus b over 2. Okay, meaning you will have to take out this one equals to 0. This one equals to 0. That's how you get your intercept as a and b, and then you divide it by 2. So there should be something like that, which is here a, b, and then you divide it by 2. That's how the concept goes. Okay, so you always have your a and your b, which is your two roots.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Does that say -8 over 2c minus 4?
That is equal.
Oh, equal. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
that's an
That
equal
makes
sign.
more sense. Okay, thank you, teacher. That makes more sense.
All right.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. So here, remember for quadratic function, the most important is you know how to find the minimum and the maximum, okay, value. Okay, so let's move on. Let's say here, yeah, you will see the example, something like this. You see, example 1, it says that express this in a form of this. Isn't that this is vertex form? Then hence find the coordinates of the turning point. So you see turning point is in, or stationary point as I mentioned. So which means they want to know the turning point of the minimum or maximum point. Okay, so you just do like completing the square, remember? Big bracket square minus small bracket square. So this step is not necessary for you to show. I repeat, this step is not necessary for you to show. Wait. You have to show this actually. Okay. I think I didn't highlight it. So let me highlight it again. You have to show this step. You have to show this step where you have plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square. Let me add it in here. Sorry for that. Now I realize that why it seems like a bit lacking here. Okay, this part. Okay, so let me add on here. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I think I cannot erase anymore, but let me just add in here. Okay, which means, remember, second step should be plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square. Okay, then only the third step is making it into big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. Okay, so what am I saying is this part. Okay, let me go on to the example just now, okay, so that I can give you more explanation. Let me call out. Okay, let's snip these questions out, okay, so that I can explain further. Yeah, all right. So this part, Okay, when you are given this one is a simple one. Why? Because they straight away give you your A equals to 1 already. Do you realize that? Okay, when your A is 1, it's so easy to deal with. So you see here, x squared, you copy back 3x squared, which means you always separate all the x's in one side, all the numbers in one side, so that you will add in your plus 3, your 3 over 2. So here, what's your B? Your B is negative 3. Remember, you always plus in your B over 2 square, and then you minus your B over 2 square. So the purpose of doing this, okay, plus B over 2 square minus B over 2 square, is you yourself purposely doing it so that you can change the first 3 become the big bracket square. And then the rest will be the C. Okay, do you get me now? So I repeat, yeah, for any given function, all the x's, you group them one side, all the numbers is one group. So in the middle here, it's where you will put in your plus B over 2 square minus B over 2 square. Okay, which is like here, our B is negative 3 over 2, and then plus B over 2 square minus B over 2 square. Okay, then the first 3 term become x minus the B, okay, which is the x plus B over 2 square minus 9 over 4. Okay, so now you will get your this part inside become equals to 0. So this whole thing here equals to 0. That's how you will have your minimum point, which is 3 over 2, the x. And then this will be your y. So straight away put in here as your y. So the minimum value for fx is actually negative 25 over 4. Do you see that? This is how we answer. Minimum value for fx is negative 25 over 4. So if you want the coordinates, see here, they have requests for coordinates of the turning point. So you have to give the coordinates. Otherwise, if they ask for the minimum value, then the answer will be negative 25 over 4. That's the minimum value. All right. So is that okay? Let us move on to the next one. When we solve together, I think you will see it better. Okay. Let me find the questions so that we can continue. So the next example is just another type. Okay. But now because they make it become negative 2, so you just have to do it very slowly by factorizing out the negative 2. I think this one you all can see it yourself, right? Because once you factorize out negative 2, then remember the x squared and the 4x one side, okay? And then in the middle, you will stuck in your plus b over 2 and minus b over 2 here. So the first 3 steps become the big bracket, okay? Then you do it from there. Okay, let's do this together, okay? 3.2, okay, I have this one. Shall we try let me see. Okay, I think we can do. Okay, let me sneak this part out. Okay, all right, let us do 1b together. They ask you to state the minimum value, okay, and then the corresponding value of x. So minimum value here refers to the y. Then they want the corresponding value of x. Do they ask for coordinate? No, they didn't ask for coordinates. Okay, so we just try with 1b. Okay, I'll do it here on top. So 1b. So in order to find out the y value and the x value, I need to do my completing the square. So remember that when you scared of it, right, the more you have to do it, then you won't feel fear anymore. Okay, let's do this together. So first thing, what do we need to do? Can anybody tell me? Remember, the first step is always A must be equals to 1. Second step, you must always have plus B over 2 square minus B over 2 square. Third step, okay, why do I recall about this? Because this is the part that you can have marks in. We need to see these steps so that you can get the marks. Okay, then only the big bracket square minus small bracket square plus C. Okay, so let's do this. First thing, we factorize out the 2 so that I have x squared plus 5 over 2x minus 1 over 2. Then we move on. So this one, remember here, this is where we copy back first, and then we add in our plus b over 2. So where's my b? My b is 5 over 2. Divided by 2 become 5 over 2 times half. So I'm getting 5 over 4. Do you see that? This is my b over 2. So my b over 2 is 5 over 4. So this is positive. I follow positive 5 over 4. And then square. And then I also minus 5 over 4 square. And then minus half. Is it okay? So now I have my second step done, which is plus b over 2 minus b over 2. Okay, then copy back the negative half. Okay, so the next one is the first three terms. Remember, the first three terms we will put into big bracket square minus small bracket square, then copy back. Okay, so here x square, I take out x. 5 over 4 square, I take out 5 over 4. So this is positive, I continue to take out positive. This one, 5 over 4 square, you can write down, and then minus half. Is it okay? Then now x plus 5 over 4 whole thing square. Okay, now this one, remember, we have to settle the square first, yeah? So minus 25 over 16, and then minus half again. Okay, so now let's copy back this big one. Then this one, calculator, 25 over 16 minus half. Anybody? Times 8, so should be minus 33 lah, huh? Correct? 33 over 16. Now, are you done here? Remember, you're not done because you haven't factorized out. You haven't expanded. You don't want this big bracket. Okay, so just one more step, which is to multiply in and multiply in here. So it becomes 2 bracket x plus 5 over 4 square. Then minus this one become 33 over 8. So that's it. Now to answer this, what is the minimum value? So write down hence minimum value is, what is that? Negative 33 over 8, which is the y. So this part is my y here. Then my x will be negative 5 over 4, because this whole thing inside has to be equals to 0, then only you get your x. Is that okay? Can I see hands? Can I see hands if you are okay? Good. I can see most of you are doing really well. Yes. I hope that you are having your paper with you. Yuanning, are you there? And Shazana. Yep, good. Shazana, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay. So let's continue. So let me put it here first. Okay. All right, let's add another slide. So let us do the bottom one. Okay, you can put down your hand. Okay, thank you for responding. Okay, so shall we do 2A? I think 2A is tougher lah, huh? Let us do 2A together. Okay, let me take out another new one so that it is not so small. Okay, let us go to the new one where I will do question 2 and 3 together. Okay, all right, let us use blue color now. Okay, let's do 2A together. Okay, so 2A. I have fx equals to negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, so now remember the rules again. A always equals to 1. Number 2 is I have to always make sure that I have this step, which is plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square. Then the third step is I always have to make sure I have big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. Okay, so this will be plus b over 2 as well. This is also my b over 2. All right, so let's start. First thing, I see my a is negative 2, which means the whole thing has to factorize out negative 2 in order to make the okay, so negative 2 is here. So I take out my x square. Okay, now this one it's a bit challenging because you are getting positive 4, right? Okay, someone text message. Anyone? Send message or raise your hand? No? Okay, all right, let's move on. Okay, here. So this one a bit challenging. So if you're not sure, right, you do it outside. Okay, you must ask yourself, -2 times what you will get back 4. Because this is the answer 4 here. Okay, this is the 4 here. So now -2 has to be factorized out. So -2 here. So you have to ask yourself, -2 times what you get back 4. So you know the answer, -2. So now here become -2x. So you check here. If you were to expand back, -2 times -2, yes, you get positive 4. And then you get back x. Do you get me now? Okay, so this part, you have to do it by a side when you are not sure. But if you are fast, you can know, but this is -2x. And then this one, also remember, this one is a 3 is your answer, lor. Okay, the -2 is also the one factorized out, so must times what? Okay, so you put the one in bracket so that you do like that. So you know that it should be -3/2. Why? Because negative times negative only you get positive. 2 times 3/2, then only you get 3. So the -3/2 is to put in here. Is that okay now? Okay, so this is how. Just do a double check if you are scared. -2 times x squared, you get -2x squared. -2 times -2, you get positive 4. And then x, and then you get back x. -2 times 2 over -3/2, you get back positive 3, which is like what you have done here. Lah. So you feel better. It's okay to leave this by a side. Meaning, we know that when you are doing, you need some working at the side, it's fine. We don't bother about all this working, but this working is important so that you feel safe. Remember, when you are doing maths, you need to feel the confidence and the safety inside your heart. So that's why you keep all this working by your side so that when you check, you feel better. Okay, so let's move on. So -2, I have factorized out. So the next step is, remember, here. This one, I'm going to separate them so that I will add in my step 2. Okay, my step 1 is done as well. So now I go on to x squared copy back minus 2x copy back. Now here, this is where I will put in my plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square, and then continue with my -3/2. Do you see that? Okay. Okay. 2. All right. So what is my b? My b is -2. So -2/2. Here also -2/2. So it's good that you show here. Okay, what's your b/2? What's your b/2? So then the first 3 terms, you will put them into the big bracket square minus the small bracket square minus 3/2. Okay, so big bracket here, x squared, take out, the x is outside. Okay, left x inside. This one -2/2, you simplify, become -1. So the square is outside, so you put in -1 inside. Is that okay? And then here also, here you can simplify, become, okay, so now let's expand. So x minus 1 square. This one, -1. Okay, please don't get caught because you have a negative and a negative here. You need to settle the one with the square first. So in the end, you have -1 holding square become 1 only. And then you have -3/2. So now you have x minus 1 holding square. This one you can simplify now. Press calculator, -1 minus 3/2. You get -5/2. Press calculator. Okay, if you are not sure. But if your mental calculation is good, you know that this is 2/2. So -2 minus 3 minus 5. And then the 2 just right back. So can we stop here? Can we stop here? Can or cannot? So this one, third step also done already. Can we stop here? Can or cannot?
No,
Cannot. Why?
need to times in.
Yes, we need to expand, right? We need to take out this big bracket. So -2 multiply in here, you get -2 and then x minus 1 holding square. -2, this one is where you will get caught. If you are scared, write down. -2 times -5/2. Will I penalize you? No. When I see you having this working at the side, I know that you are doing some calculation just for safety purpose so that you get positive 10 here. Okay, it's better than you left out the negative. most of you want to do mental calculation, but you tend to make mistakes. So better if you take calculator or you write down by your side. Okay, can so now I can answer that my minimum value is 10, and then my corresponding x is 1. Is it okay? Because x minus 1, the whole thing becomes 0, so x is 1. And this is my minimum value here. Oh, sorry, they want maximum value. Shall I change it? Okay, to answer it, it's maximum. Sorry, because the a is less than 1, so it's a maximum value. Okay, is it clearer? Can I see hands if you are good? Yes, very good. Sophia, okay? Jasrine, okay? Yeah, so should be good, huh? All right, let's move on. Okay, share screen, share. Okay, let's continue to solve the next one. I hope that when I repeatedly repeat, you will have the familiarity in you. So then you will have less tendency to make mistake. Moving on, here we have minimum value. So it's given, yeah, it's given the minimum value. Okay, of minimum value of the quadratic function is 1, which means from this interpretation, you know that the minimum value is 1. So y equals to 1 when x is -3. This already give you the coordinates of the minimum point, isn't it? Which is -3 and 1. You have to interpret yourself lah. So find the value of P and of Q. Okay. So can we continue here? Okay. So you will have fx equals to 2x squared plus px plus q. Does that scare you off? That shouldn't be, right? Because what you have to do is, you know that there is a minimum value and x, which means this is a minimum point. So you cannot run away from completing the square again. It's just that now it's another way of asking whereby you will answer P and Q and not the minimum point. Okay, so same thing. First thing, do the 2. Change the a become 1. So factorize out the 2. Remember, this is a now you're dealing with function, so you cannot divide by 2. All right, so here same thing. P, I factorize out the 2, become P over 2x, and then here also Q over 2. Okay, so here remember, you will have the P1 gang, the X1 gang, and then the non-X1 gang. That is where you will put in your plus b over 2. So copy back first the first 2 terms, then only you plus the b over 2 square minus b over 2 square, then plus q over 2. You can always do like what I did here so that you will not forget. So now you have your b over 2. What's your b? P over 2. So p over 2 divide by 2. Here also p over 2 divide by 2. You can just write it like that. It's it's perfectly fine. Then the third step, you know, you have to have big bracket square minus small bracket square plus q over 2. Do you see that? So now let's fill in x squared, look in x. This one, p over 2 divided by 2. If you are not, familiar, just do it like that, divided by 2. So p over 2 times 1 over 2. Okay, then you will get p over 4. Now you are confident that this is a plus p over 4. Okay, this one also p over 4. Is that okay? So now let us simplify it, become x plus p over 4. The whole thing still bracket square. Then here, just make it become, okay, p square over 16, right? Then plus q over 2. So now you can, okay, group them. Okay, so now the 2, I think you can, because here this one you cannot simplify anymore. Okay, so you can just multiply in and expand the big bracket. Remember, always have to get rid of the big bracket. So 2 plus p over 4 holding square, just copy back. And then now this one minus, okay, this one you have to, let me show with red pen here, expand one term, expand two terms, expand three terms. Okay, so let's continue. So x plus p over 4. Okay, so this one become minus p square over 16 times 2. 1 over 16 times 2 is 8. Plus q over 2 times 2 plus q. Okay, so now how to compare? So you know this is your x, this is your y, right? Let me write in red, write in blue lah. Okay, so this whole thing inside is your x, remember? So x equals to p over 4, or negative p over 4. Okay, negative p over 4. So negative p over 4, you compare. Okay, here x equals to 1. So which means negative p over 4 is equals to 1. Am I right? So p is equals to 4. And then, oh, sorry, negative p equals to 4. P equals to negative 4. That's how you found out the p. Okay, then I think I need to erase this part. Okay, so that I can have very lag. I finished erase already. It's still erasing. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so here let me continue now with Q, the balance. Okay, which is this part, which is the Y. So this is all the Y. So now you know that. Sorry, I thought I can erase like that. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so I have my y equals to negative 3. And then I also have my y equals to negative p squared over 8 plus q. Okay, so now I know that I compare both. Now I have negative 3 equals to negative p squared over 8 plus q. So I have my p already, right, which is negative 4. So we have to substitute in that our negative, and then I have negative 4 whole thing squared over 8 plus q. Not enough space already. Okay, so this is negative 3. So let us simplify here first. Negative 4 square becomes 16. So negative 16 over 8. Negative 3 plus q. So can I put my q here alone? So this one I don't need, I move here lah. So it will become 16 over 8 minus 3. So the answer is negative 1. Okay, why? Because this one will be 2 minus 3, so it becomes negative 1. So like that, I found my P and my Q. Is it better? Yep. Can I see hands if you are good? Do you want me to repeat one more time or anywhere that you need help with? Can I see hands if you are good? Okay, good. And you okay, huh? Yes. Jasreen.
Teacher,
Yeah?
why did you
Yes.
why you repeat the p over 2 divided by 2 square?
This one is your B over 2. What's your B? Your B is here, right? B is here. This one is your B. That's why you have to take B over 2. That's why I take my P over 2 divided by 2. Okay? So it follows my rules that you have plus B over 2 square minus B over 2 square. Okay? So these first 3 terms ended up become here. Okay? Then minus. Is that okay? All right. So I think that should be fine, right? Okay, already, So you take some time to digest. If you still need help, you can always ask me. Okay? So let me save this one first. Yeah, forgot to save. Okay, so any more question? Today's date is 30th, 3007. Okay. All right, let's move on. So now I want to go on to the next part, which is to sketch. Okay. So this part we are done. Now we go on to the graph. Okay, so for graph, you will be asked to sketch the graph. Okay, so how many steps are there in sketching the graph? So what you have learned, what you are learning today are usually exam type questions. Okay, are usually exam type question. They will ask you like question like this: express this function in the form, then hence state the minimum point or maximum point, and also the equation of axis of symmetry. Okay, and then you will be asked also to sketch the whole graph. Okay, things like that, and they can give you all sorts of curve. Okay, and ask you to find the m and n first, and then hence sketch the curve. So all these are the what do you call that, important part of this chapter. Okay, where it will usually be in paper 2 as well. Okay, so that's why you have to understand this chapter lah. Okay, and remember, when now we are going to sketch the curve, right? Remember, the first step is we are going to put is we look at the A first. Okay, we look at the A, the B, and the C. So okay, let us do some with what do you call that, revision first. Okay, so here, sketching graph. Okay, fx equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, so for this type of graph, first thing you will have to make it become completing the square vertex form, which will be in ax plus p whole thing square plus q. Is that okay? So after you have put that into vertex form, right? So you will know that from your A, okay? So the sketching part, so step 1. So I will put this as step 1. Okay. You cannot run away from vertex form, because that is how we want to look at the axis of symmetry and also the minimum point. Okay. So you will see the A, if it's more than 0, you know that it will be a happy face. And then if A less than 0, you know that it is a sad face, because it will give you maximum. Then step 2. Okay, so now you know that your curve is like that or like that. Okay, but do you know whether are they like that or like that? Okay, or like that. Remember that? So which means this will be regards to the number of roots. So how to determine the number of roots? Remember, the second step you should check is number of roots, which will be b squared minus 4ac. You substitute in the a, the b, the c that you get, so that you see whether do you get more than 0, then that will be 2 different or distinct real roots, which will be case number 1, like this. Okay, or like this, isn't it? Okay, so this one I erase first. Get it? Then the second step is either you will get equals to 0, which means it will be 2 equal roots, which will be like this. And then you have b squared minus 4ac less than 0, which means no real roots. Okay, is that all right? So this is something that you can expect, because when you want to sketch a graph, right, you know there is U-shaped and shape curve, but you don't know how many roots, so also cannot. That's why your step 2, find out the roots, right? Then now step 3, you can use the vertex form that you have found, so that you will find out the minimum point or the maximum point. Okay, so there's a trick here lah. Okay, if let's say your question didn't mention completing the square. Okay, completing the square, then you can actually do it faster by just using x equals to minus b over 2a to find out the x of your minimum point. Okay, then you can declare this as your step 4, which is your axis of symmetry as well. Okay. So now the final step is to have 3 points on your graph. 3 points, and usually that will include your 1 point is your minimum or maximum, and then 1 point will be another one will be your roots, and another one will be your y-intercept. Is that okay? Good. So I repeat, yeah. So you can do vertex form, the first step, okay? But let's say you don't want to start with that lah. Mainly, okay, I would say that this is optional. Mainly start with this one first. Step 1. Okay. Then step 2, do b square minus 4ac. Then step 3, fill in the minimum or maximum point. If the question didn't say must use completing the square method, then please use the shortcut one, which is x equals to minus b over 2a. Then step 4 will be label the axis of symmetry, and then make sure that step 5, you have 3 points. That is the minimum, maximum point, the roots, and the y-intercept. If let's say you got no roots, then it's fine. You just have to find one more point or one more point. I think this is very clear, isn't it? Okay, so that is how you can score. Okay, let's continue to solve questions. Is that okay? Any questions so far? This is just a repetition of what I have mentioned in class, right? Maybe over the time you have forgotten. That's why I teach again. Okay, so that's why here they just tell you the b square minus 4ac. Okay, yeah. Okay. So let's move on to solve questions. Okay. Oh yeah, the question always like to say like they will have like tangent to one another. Do you remember that questions? Okay, later we will go into that. Okay, all right, let's try to solve this question, shall we? Let me see. Range. All right, so should we try to solve? Let me see, 7, 8, 9 questions. Okay, we have 9 questions here. Shall we try to solve most, if not all of them? I think this is good because it combines what we have learned last week also. Find the range also, it's here. Okay, and then you have 2 different real roots. Find the range. Okay, all right, so let us see this one. Can we try to start sketching? Okay, here they ask you to sketch. All right, let's try with question number 2 first. I think this one I have snapped already, so let's try new. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. Okay. Let's move on to number 2. Okay, because they asked us to sketch, so then we can go on from here. Okay, first step. Because here they just ask you, do you see that? They ask you to express in the form of this, so you cannot run away from vertex form. Okay, but anyhow, then only you are asked to sketch the graph. That's why the very first step, do the completing the square, then second step, sketch the graph. So in your mind, you have to draft out the sequence. Okay, so now let's start from the first one. I will start from the top here for the first part. Okay, which means completing the square. So first step, is that okay, everybody? I start already, So now we do completing the square first. Okay. Because why? The question requires us to express it in this form first, which means there's no way that we can use the shortcut. But the shortcut is good because that will be a second way for you to double confirm that you're right. Okay, let's just do it. Okay, y equals to, everybody, can you just take paper and solve together with me? Otherwise, you will fall asleep when you just keep listening only. Okay, so now let me factorize out the -2 so that everything take out -2 will be +3/2. Is it too fast for you? Or should I explain? So I take out -2. So this one, -2 times what becomes 6, +6, which is here, right? Okay. So -2 times what become +6. So I have to have a negative here. So that negative, negative become positive. Then 2 times 3, 6. Let me just check. Negative times negative, positive. Then 2 times 3, 6. So in my bracket, I should have negative 3. So this is correct. Then now, I can have my negative 2 times what? To make it negative 3 for the third term. Okay, so this one will be negative times positive. Okay, so I show that it is positive. 2, how to become 3? It has to be 3 over 2 lor. Why? Because the 2 and the 2 can cancel, then I can get 3. Okay, so negative times positive, negative. 2 times 3 over 2, I get 3. So the answer that I put in should be plus 3 over 2. So this will be plus 3 over 2 here. Is that okay? This is the negative 3, and then this is how you get a 6. Is it okay, this part? I hope that this one, when I repeatedly solve with you, you get more confidence. Huh? Am I too fast? Do you need explanation for that? Can I hear from you? Is it okay now? Can I see hands if you're okay with this step, please? Because this is a crucial step. Huh? If you need more help, you should voice it out now. Okay? All right. Okay. Yeah, Ken, Katie, bye-bye. Okay, how about the rest? Okay. I think Katie left already, is it? Yeah. Okay, the rest okay, Okay, let's move on. Yeah. So now let's go on. So this crucial step, make sure that it's correct. Otherwise, you will be all wrong already. So let's move on here. Equal. So now remember that I can separate them into 2 because I want to add in my b over 2. So let's do it. Negative 2. So x squared minus 3x, I copy back. Then plus bracket square minus bracket square plus 3 over 2. So inside my bracket should be b over 2. So what's my b? My b is negative 3, right? So I should have negative 3 over 2, negative 3 over 2. So now I should put in my big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. So what is my x squared? Put in x. This one is minus 3 over 2. Put in minus 3 over 2. Okay, and this one will be negative 3 over 2 still right in. So now I have my x minus 3 over 2 whole thing square. Okay, then this one I settle the square first. Remember, I have settled the square first, then only I settle the negative. So here this one become 9 over 4 and plus 3 over 2. Remember, this one I highlight here. All right, let's move on. So now it will be, I can simplify these two first, right? Okay, calculator. This one can simplify first. Yeah, shouldn't write it here. It's confusing for you. Should write it down here. Okay, so negative 2. The big bracket is still there. X minus 3 over 2 square. And then here, this one calculator. This one become 4. So 6. So minus 9 plus 6, I get minus 3 over 4. Okay. Then now, moving up here, I expand my negative 2 into both of these terms. So become negative 2 x minus 3 over 2 whole thing square. This one become plus. Calculator, negative 2 times 3 over negative 3 over 4. You should get positive 3 over 2, right? So then with that, you expand it in this form. So you have answered the first part. Okay. So now you confirm and see P is there, yes. X plus Q is there, plus R is there. So confirm the first part is done. Then now the second part. So, oh, sorry, I should write down here Y equals to, okay. So let's move on to the second part. So I will write down here step 2, okay, part 2. So y equals to negative 2. That's why when you are solving at maths, right, please don't save paper. I see like Chen Qing, for example. Chen Qing is here, right? She can squeeze everything in a page, I know. It's very dangerous. You know why? Because sometimes when you make mistake, right, you got no space to correct, and then you have to do it again. And then your half a page is another question. Then you are hanging. How? Then you will draw arrow here and there, say, teacher, continue here, like that. You know, when I mark your paper, it's like solving puzzle. I have to find another piece in other pages. So don't do that lah. One question, one page. Okay. So like that, It's very easy. You don't have to feel like, oh, later I make mistake, no space. No need to save paper one, especially in exam. Other time you save, okay, I'm fine. But exam, please leave enough space for yourself to make mistake. Okay, allow yourself to make mistake because you are human. The most important is realize your mistake and then don't repeat again. So that is what I want to advise most of you here lah. So let's move on to sketch the graph. Okay, so remember the first step. Okay, sketch the graph. There are 5 steps, right? So very first one, look at the A. A is less than 0. So we know that this will be a set face with a maximum point. Okay, so this is your sketch. Step 2, we will do b square minus 4ac. So that we can know what is our roots. Okay, this is to find out the number of roots. So now let us ganti our b. So write down first lah. Our a is -2 from here. B is 6. C is -3. Okay, so our b square, which is 6 square minus 4a -2c -3. Is that okay? So now I check. 6 square is 36. Calculator, this one is plus 8. Become minus 24. So equals to 12, which is bigger than 0. So I know that there should be 2 real roots. Real and different roots. Okay, which means now I already know. Okay, I can somehow sketch out like that already. There should be 2 roots like that. Okay, so now is to find out the roots. So I have to, number 3, factorize them. Because I need to find out the roots. Okay, so I need to factorize them, which is, I can use calculator lah, right? Y equals to, okay, so calculator, see what do you get? -2. So key in your calculator, your A, your B, your C. Okay, can you help me to calculate and see? Then find my calculator. Okay, can anyone press and see? Can you get me your answer? What is your A? What is your B? What is your C? Anyone? Do they give you the answer? Nobody. Anyone? Press this question for me, please. Otherwise, I have to use my traditional way already. Okay, because I don't have a calculator. So I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so I have -2x squared and then -3. Okay, let's do this. It's a part of division. So I'm going to have 2x squared and then here will be x. Okay, then here will be -1 and 3. Okay, my goal is to get +6. So I think it should be, this one is +6. So it won't be a nice curve, right? Do you get a nice one? 2 negative. Oh yeah, because I have a minus here. So yeah, I can add. So I will put the minus and the minus together so that I get a positive. Let me see here, then I can add. No, 2, 3, 6 already. 6 minus 1 cannot get already. So this one will be, sorry, no x here. Okay, so I should get 3 and 1. 3 and 1. So that here I have minus, okay, I think so. So -2x minus 2 become positive 2x. I did also get 6. 5 only. 3x, I get 5 only. Cannot. Any other way? I thought I can plus. Oh yeah, maybe I can. Plus 2, 3 cannot. This one is plus. Any other answer? Why no response from the rest one? Are you trying to find for your calculator? This one all wrong already. Why I cannot?
Teacher.
Yeah. Anu? Yes.
X1 is 0.634
Okay, 0.634. Can you press the ABC and see? It should be a fraction because I cannot get a nice number. What's the ABC tells you? 0.634. Do you have a nice number?
No.
ABC also cannot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, which means we have to use formula. No? Okay, never mind. We write down first 0.634.
So
Cannot.
all these
What's the next
decimals
number
are
after?
scary.
0.634 what? Anu, 634 what?
0.63397 actually.
Oh, okay. Then 4063397 cannot. So 40 lo. But then can because you round off already, cannot do anything else. Because 63397 ma, right? 40 already. Okay, then the next one.
The next one is 2.366.
366. The next number.
025.
Okay, so 0 lah. Okay, so can. All right, thank you. So this method cannot be used because why? They are not nice number. So always use your calculator to help you to check. So which means here you need to use the formula. Okay, so step 3 here. Let me put in that it should be the formula. Okay, so which is minus b. So minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac over 2a. So now I have to put in what is my minus b. Minus b will be minus 6 plus minus b square, which is my 6 square minus 4. A will be my negative 2. C will be my negative 3. Right? Okay, this one let me erase first, which means I have to find another place to do it. Okay, then over 2a. Over 2a, which is negative 2. Okay, then only you, okay, this is a step that you must show. Then only you can declare that, sorry, this one shouldn't be wild. This one should be. Okay, so now I get my x equals to, okay, then you can simplify lah, negative 6, this one. B square minus 4ac, press your calculator, what do you get?
12.
12, thank you. Then over negative 4. Okay, so once you show this step, right, then you can press your calculator already. X equals to negative 0. Not negative, positive 0.634. Okay, like that. So the most important step is I want to see the star step lah, where you can substitute. Okay, so x equals to 0.634. Okay. All right. Then here will be another one is 2.366. All right. So like that you can sketch already, but you haven't find your y-intercept, so you have to continue to find out where's your y-intercept. How to find y-intercept? At y-intercept, your x is equals to 0, isn't it? So you will find your y equals to 0, because here 0, then plus 6 times x, 0, so 0, so you're left negative 3. So I think you can happily sketch out now, which means you have 2 roots and your y-intercept is negative 3. So now you have 1 point, you have another point, which is 0.634. Another point is 2.366, and then you have your maximum point, which is 3 over 2, comma, here. And then another one also 3 over 2. Okay, then label here y, label here x. Okay, then just draw here dot, 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 dot. All right, like that. Full marks. Sketching should be 5 marks. Okay, how do I give you the 5 marks? The curve, 1 mark. Okay, the roots, 2nd mark. Okay, the maximum point, the 3rd marks. And then you show this star step, 1 mark for substituting, and another 1 mark will be for your completing the square. That's it, 5 marks. Okay, it's very stingy. Okay, don't tell me that, oh, teacher's so stingy. Yeah, it's like that. By now you should know that MS marks is very stingy. You can have like solving for the whole page, you end up only got 5 marks. It's like that. Okay. Okay, so can we solve more? Okay, is everybody okay or not? Can I get some response? You're still with me? Yeah. So do you think that we should solve more? Oh, okay. Sangeeta actually give me answer already. Thank you, Yi Jing. I didn't see your answer here. Okay, so everybody is good. All right. Shall we solve more? Yeah. Okay. Let's go on. Okay. So I have actually some exam type questions. I want to get it. Okay. Actually, the textbook question also very good question, Okay. So now I want to solve some of these range questions. Should we? Okay. Okay. Can you tell me whether do you need one more sketching question, or we can go to solving the range problem? Anyone? Feedback? Do you need one more question on sketching? Can you respond in the chat box so that I know what you need? Now it's 9 o'clock. We still have about 30 minutes. Do you need sketching questions? Do you need question 2? This is chapter 2. Okay. Anyone? Do you need one more sketching questions, or you prefer this one? Anyone? No response, which means you're okay with anything, or you just enjoy listening without the intention of trying yourself. You cannot, if you just enjoy listening, when you do it yourself, right, you're going to vomit. So don't do that. Okay. I have one question here. Other questions, solving question. Okay, so Tana said she enjoys solving questions. Can you tell me what type of question? The range questions, the sketching questions, the roots question. Which one do you need? Let me pick it up from my sister. Okay. Okay, that's it. Okay, let me zoom it, then I can take it out. This one, have I put it in? I put in already, right? Okay. Okay. Let me take out this one. We solve this question. Okay, this one will be exam type, so tougher for you. Okay, let's do this together. Okay. Can you see the question? Very small, Okay, let me enlarge this part. Then later on we solve together. Okay, nah? Okay, let us do it one by one. Okay. Now this diagram shows the curve y equals to minus x squared plus 16 and the straight line 4x plus y equals to 16. It is given that the point J lies on the x-axis such that OJ equals to m units and the straight line JKL is parallel to the y-axis. That's a lot of information here. Let us do it one by one. Okay. So here again you have the curve. Okay. And then the straight line. So this straight line and the curve does meet, right? So you know already that you must solve simultaneous, cannot run already. And then it's given that point J lies on x-axis. So you know point J is this one. It lies on the x-axis. Okay, which means it is a point where the y coordinate should be 0 because it lies on the x-axis. Okay, do you see that? Okay, and then you have OJ equals to m unit. So OJ is m unit. Okay, and then the straight line JKL is parallel to the y-axis. Straight line JKL is parallel to the y-axis. Okay, so which means these two are parallel. Okay, yes. I forgot to share screen.
It's me.
Got.
No,
Yes.
it's me.
Gesturing. Yeah.
OJ. OJ.
Yeah, gesturing. Yes, Jess. Why?
No, it says OJ.
Yeah. Did I just say anything? This is OJ. Yes.
is M. Because my name
So-
is Jasmine.
Ah, okay. All right. So yeah. So this is OJ. Is a okay. It's you. All right. Fine. It's just yeah. Coincident. Okay. So now you know that they ask you to express the length KL. Where is KL? Here. Okay. They want this length KL in terms of M. Do you get the question right? Okay, they want you to express the length of KL, K and L, okay, in terms of M. So where do you get M? You get M when you see M, you only know that OJ equals to M. And now you have to make use of this M to express this distance of K and L. Okay, so how do you solve that? Okay, you first have to understand that this OJ is actually this distance, right? This OJ is actually this distance. So I think we should do it step by step. Let me just take out this small part first instead of the whole questions. Okay, let's do this part first. Okay, so you have this curve. Let's highlight. Okay, this curve. Can you take out paper? We solve together, okay? And the straight line. Okay, and then it's given that you have point J lies on the x-axis. So you have OJ equals to M. So this is M lah, huh? Let's write down that this is M. So this OJ is M. Okay, so now you know that this one. Okay, what is this has regards? Your OJ is the distance, right? So this is actually telling you that that's the J coordinate, the X. So you know that this X, okay, you see here, the J is on the x-axis. So J will be 0, right, for the Y. And then because here, this one, they tells you that the distance is M. So we can actually say that this is M0. Do you agree? Okay, so we can say that this is M0. Do it step by step because this is a tough question. Total 10 marks in paper 2. Okay, so it's given that you have point J lies on the x-axis. So now we are done analyzing. And then we also know that this is parallel. Okay, fine. So now you have to find L, KL. Okay, you need to find KL. So they didn't tell us that this M is the midpoint or what. They just tell us that this is M. Okay, and we know that when you want to find these two distance, right? First thing, we have to relate to these two equations. Okay, so you know that this curve is this, and then you know that the straight line is negative 4x plus 16, right? So let us write down these two equations first. Y equals to negative x squared plus 16. And then another one is y equals to negative 4x plus 16. And what else that we know? Yeah, we can actually realize that actually LJ, if you want to find this part, right, you see LK is what they want you to find, right? As long as you find out what is the red one. The red one is the LJ. Okay, so Lj is the whole thing, right? So Lj is actually made up of Lk plus Kj. Do you agree? Okay. So if you want to find, question asks us to find this, right? Let us make it Lk in the subject, which means I have to pick Lj minus Kj. Do you agree? I repeat, yeah. If you want to find the blue part, then you have to take the Lj, which is the whole thing, minus Kj, isn't it? Then you should be able to find out already, right? What is your LQ? Okay, which means we just have to find out what is my Lj, then I minus what is my Kj, the distance lah. Okay, so this one is a simple question actually. So you can find out your Kj or not. The Kj will be these coordinates, right? As long as we can find out the K coordinates, then I should be able to substitute in the X of the K. Because why? This is M, this is also M. Am I right? Which means the X coordinate of my point K should be also M. Agree or not? Okay, so K, my point K, right, should be M, another one should be Y. Do you agree? All right, so which means I can actually put in my yeah, I can actually put inside here because now my K is on the straight line. My K is on my straight line, right? So I have equation 1 and 2 here. Okay, so K is on equation 2. Isn't it? K is on equation 2. So I can put down that my Y is equals to negative 4. This one I put M plus 16. Do you agree? Okay. So now I have my negative 4M plus 16. That is my K. So now I can happily declare that my K is M, comma, negative 4M plus 16. Agree? So this is my coordinate for my K. Okay, and then the same thing, you can observe here that your L is also somehow, I use black for L. My L also same distance. Do you realize that? So my L, okay, for my L, it's also M and something. And I know that my point L, it's on the quadratic. Okay, so for L, it will also be M and then another Y of it. So I need to find out what's my Y. So I have to put in my L into the equation 2. Okay, so L it's on equation 1. So now I will put Y equals to negative M squared plus 60. So can I happily declare that my L is actually M, comma, negative M squared plus 60. Right? So now I find out their coordinates. The coincidence is that everything is in M for their, everything is in M for their X coordinate. Do you understand? Most of you look at this question, you bong already. Which means you feel like cannot already, right? But do you realize that now this one is my L coordinates? Okay, this one is my L coordinate. So the L coordinate is the one actually tells you the distance already. Do you realize that? Okay, so can I say that if I want to find out my KL is actually negative M squared plus 16, okay, minus. So now I can happily do this now. Remember, this is the first part that we find out here. This one. Sorry, very ugly. Make it properly. This part. So now I have got my LJ. My LJ is actually my point L lah, which is this one, step 1. Okay, this is my 1. And then my second one is my 2. So basically, I'm just looking at their Y coordinates. Okay, so isn't that now I know my L is this one, negative M squared plus 16. Which means this distance here is negative M squared plus 16. Do you realize that? And then the K here will be the K coordinates, which is negative 4M plus 16. Okay, so let me explain one more time here. Okay, let me explain one more time here. So from the coordinates, you know that this is M, you know that this is negative m squared plus 16. Isn't that it tells you that this is the L, okay, the length here is actually negative m squared plus 16. Then now you want to find LK, so you have to minus out this red color part. This red color part is where your K is. So your K, this distance here is your Y coordinates of your K, which is uh, here, negative 4m plus 16. Agree? Which is the Y coordinates here. So what should I answer this? So this first part is that, let me use blue lah. Okay, so in order to answer part 1, okay, KL, which is the distance here, then I have to take my black one minus my blue one. So my black one is negative m squared plus 16. I will have to minus the whole which is in red. Minus this whole thing, negative 4m plus 16. Do you realize that? Okay, then I can get my blue one. Okay, so let me use blue to solve this, which means I can get negative m squared plus 16. This one, expand. So I get positive 4m. This one, I expand. I can get negative 16. Happily, plus 16 minus 16. So I left negative m squared plus 4m. Okay, so they asked for what? Okay, now I come to this part, right? Yeah. Can we check again? Did I express KL in terms of M? Yeah. So this one we are done. Express the length of KL in terms of M. Is it very tough? It looks like very tough at the first place, right? But once you analyze the questions and then you try to understand that the M is actually the X coordinate, and then we can relate them when we substitute them into the respective equation. Then you just have to minus off like what I told you here. Can I see hands if you can understand this part better now? Isn't that look scary at the first place? But as long as you like, analyze it, it can become quite easy. Am I right, Shazana? Can Sangita, okay? Yes, very good. Michelle, are you okay? Yuning, okay? Shasrin, okay? Shasrin, Jasrin, you're okay? Okay, let me place it here. So this is a good question. Okay, let's move on. And also, this is the SPM level questions. So let's move on to solve the next part. Okay, so now they ask you to find the value of M such that KL is maximum. Okay, so let me sneak this part out. Okay, so express done already. Then now, okay, let me write out on. It should be KL that we got from the first part. It should be KL equals to minus M squared plus M. Okay, now part 2. Find the value of M such that KL is maximum. Oh, if they told you that KL is maximum, that's the keyword maximum, right? KL is maximum. They ask you to state the maximum length of KL. Okay, so they ask you for M. So this word maximum, you know that you have to relate to completing the square so that we can find out the value of Y. Okay, all right, the maximum length. So maximum length, which means the maximum value. So whenever we refer to maximum value, it always refers to the Y in completing the square. So in your mind, you have to know that you have to do completing the square. So let's do it. So we let KL equals to negative M squared plus 4M. So we have to take out the negative because our A, okay, completing the square, A always have to be 1. Number 2, plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square. The third one is big bracket square minus small bracket square plus c. So here should be x plus b over 2, and this is b over 2. Okay, so now take out the negative. So we have m square minus 4m. Then continue by, okay, this one let me put into big bracket. Okay, so now there's no C. So what shall we do? Just continue lah. You will have m square minus 4m. Then after that, you should add what? Your b square minus b square. So what's your b? B is minus 4. Do you see that your b is minus 4 here? Take from here. Your b is minus 4 here. So minus 4 over 2 lah. Minus 4 over 2 minus 4 over 2. Okay, then close bracket. So ugly here. Cannot open already, right? Okay. Okay, let's move on. So now let us continue. Okay, equal. Okay, so now same thing. The first 3 terms become m and then big bracket square. And then what's left, just copy back. Okay. So now here m square become m. This one negative 4 over 2 become negative 2. Okay, again this one negative 4 over 2 also become negative 2. So let's continue. So you will have m minus 2 square. This one negative 2 itself square. You get 4 first. So minus 4. Okay, now we open the big bracket. You get negative m minus 2 square. So this is expand first one, expand the second one, plus 4. All right, so now you have the maximum value, which is equals to 4 units. Is that okay? So with that, we have answered it. Okay, so this will be for 6 months. Okay, so usually it will be 4 marks and 2 marks. Why? Because the A1 is longer steps. Okay, so like that, we're done with A2. Okay, any question? Any questions? So from the keyword maximum, you must relate to completing the square. Then also they want the maximum value. You must always remember that you are taking the y. So here, maximum value is the y, which is this one. Okay, any more question? No, then I will paste it here. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is the last part of this question. Okay. So we will solve this together. Okay, it's given that P and Q are the roots of this quadratic equation. So this part B is another one, but it's still completing the square part. Okay. All right. So here, they told you that P and Q are the roots for this one. If 1 over P plus 1 over Q equals to 1 over 5, they ask you to find M. So which means you have to make use of the roots of this one first, right? So how do you start to solve this type of question? First thing, rearrange them, because you know that when you are doing roots, right, you have to relate to sum of roots and also what do you call that? So, and it's also very clear that when you have P and Q and then here 1 over P plus 1 over Q, right, that tells you to relate to SOR and, sorry, they ask you to relate to SOR and Paul. How do I know SOR and Paul? Because they give you P and Q, and then another one is 1 over P and 1 over Q. Isn't that, this is like P and Q from the original neighbor house, and then we want to form new equation, right? Which is 1 over P and 1 over Q. So now, first step, know that it has to be SOR Paul first. If you cannot, then you must know that, which means you lack of practice. Okay, then you move on, do more. Okay, so let's start by solving here. X squared plus mx equals to 3m plus 3. So I'm teaching you the way how to identify the keyword so that from there you relate to the corresponding idea. A lot of you are stuck at this very first step. That's why you couldn't continue. Okay, so relate to the roots, because the roots chapter, right, also saw Paul is the one, or b squared minus 4ac only. But here they didn't want to know two distinctive roots or what type of root. So there's nothing about b squared minus 4ac, but rather the saw Paul. Okay, so you have to familiarize yourself with every part of the chapter until this extent, whereby when I ask you for roots, the keyword roots, then you relate to like what I say, b squared minus 4ac or saw Paul like that. Okay, so now we rearrange them first because this one is an equation already. Okay, so you just have to rearrange them. So let's say now x squared plus mx, and then here minus 3m minus 3. So I know that my a is 1. Am I right? My b is m. My c is minus 3m minus 3. Why? Because you see coefficient of x is always b. Then whatever left will be the c. This will be the leftover. All the leftover are always the c, the constant. Okay, then we move on. So here, again, they tell you that p and q are the roots, which means you can say that the sum of roots, which is the p plus q in this case. Okay, and then the product of roots is the p times q, because they told you that p and q are the roots. And now, can we compare or not? We always know that SOR is p plus q, and then it's also equals to our what? B over 2a. Do you remember that? It's always your minus b over a. Sorry, not b over 2a. B over 2a is the axis of symmetry. So it is minus b over a. Do you remember that? Yeah. And then this one is always c over a, isn't it? So let's make use of this. So SOR again is p plus q. So my minus b over a will be, oh, I no need to be right lah, huh? I can just make use of here, sorry. Okay, so it will be, what is my minus b? My minus m over a will be 1. Okay, so I would say that my p plus q is actually minus m. That's the first equation that I get. PQ, which is my c over a, which will be negative 3m minus 3 over 1. So, which is to say that my PQ is negative 3m minus 3. Okay, that's the second equation. So, I think that's it for the first part that I can get, isn't it? So let's move on. So let's keep it here first because you don't know where it will be useful then. Now we move on to the next part, no? Because usually saw Paul, we find already, we stop there first. Then we move on to the new saw and the new Paul. Remember, now we are borrowing the resources from the neighbor. Always when we talk about saw Paul, when they want us to form new equation, we will borrow the resources from neighbor. Remember that. Okay, so now we want to continue to solve. So now we have our new saw and new Paul. New saw, which will be 1 over p plus 1 over q. So 1 over p and 1 over q, right? Which give us 1 over 5. That's given one, right? So can we relate to our old saw Paul? Because they actually want us to find out m only. So where is our m? Our m, easier one will be this one, right? P plus q equals to negative m. So I think we try first. This one we make it into p. Okay, this one should be times q on both sides, right? Okay, times q times q. This one times p times p. Okay, we want to relate to m lah. Okay, so let us try this one first. This one I have q over pq plus p over pq equals to 1 over 5. So can I combine them? PQ, I have P plus Q equals to 1 over 5. So we cannot stop here because like that we cannot answer the question, which is M, isn't it? So now I know that I have to borrow resources from my neighbor, which is this one, right? The equation 1 and also the equation 2, so that I also relate to M. Can so I continue from here. P plus Q, we get negative M. Substitute in. Do you see that? Then now, so you are relating this to here, okay? And then relating PQ to this, okay? So now my PQ will be negative 3m minus 3 equals to 1 over 5. Do you get it now? Okay, so now cross multiply. minus 5m equals to 1 times minus 3m minus 3. So minus 5m equals to minus 3m minus 3. So I can group all the m's together. So I prefer to bring my 5m here become plus 5m, and then here become 3. So that I'm dealing with positive number. So my m equals to 3 over 2. Just rewrite m equals to 3 over 2. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. So this is about so-called of this chapter. Can I see hands if you are okay? Good. This is a good question, Sana. What do you think, Tana? Is this a good question?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah. So do you learn from this question? Tana?
Yes, teacher. It's
Mm,
a nice
yeah.
question, actually.
Nice question,
Hey,
yeah, because
teacher.
this is like summarize of
Teacher,
what you
can
have
you,
learned. Yes. Come again?
teacher, can you send to like the chat or something?
Yes, I will do that. Yeah. So Tana,
Oh,
did
okay,
I
thank
forgot
you.
to send the previous lesson one? I think I didn't send, right? The last lesson recording, I forgot already. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I forgot. Never mind. I will send out the last lesson one, then I'll send out today's lesson. So let's do a summary, a quick one, okay, before we end today's lesson. So quadratic functions, we said that. Okay, let me just do a quick one. So quadratic functions, the main difference compared to quadratic equation is that the function it's a changing one, because whatever x that you put in, it gives you different y. That's why you can plot into graph. But when you fix it become equals to 0, that means you're looking at the y equals to 0 itself only. That's why you can find the roots, and that's why you call it as an equation, because you fix it to be equal to 0. Okay, so that's why these two are totally different. And for fx, which is a function, you can never simplify it. Okay, so when the first part we look at this quadratic function is to be able to express them in a vertex form, and you can do it by only completing the square. So that's why I refer here again that when your a is more than 0, you get minimum, a is less than 0, you get maximum, and you can make use of the vertex form where the inside equals to p, the inside equals to 0. That's where you can get your x coordinate for your minimum or maximum point. And then also you can get the y coordinates or the minimum value or maximum value by looking at the q. Okay, so we can say that minimum or maximum point is also equivalent to turning point or stationary point. All right, so completing the square, I repeat again. First step, make sure that your a is equals to 1, and then you have your plus b minus b. I think I want to add on a bit here because I scared that it will confuse some of you. Okay, let me just add in here with red that you should be step 2. Step 2, it should be adding in plus b over 2 square minus b over 2 square. Yeah, then this is number 3 and this is not needed. Okay, all right, so here you will have your example here where I told you that we factorize out the 4 instead of dividing it. Okay, so let's move on to the next one where I told you vertex form is the first way to do it for quadratic function. The second one is intercept form. Intercept form, you can make use of it to find the roots straight away. And then to find the middle point of it will become the x coordinates of your turning point. So that's why I show you here an example where you can take your a plus b and then equals divided by 2. That will be your x coordinate. And the third step, which is the fastest one, where you can check your axis of symmetry by just taking the minus b over 2a. Okay, so here you can check it. Okay, you see here, let's check on my x. Let's say I want to do this one. I want to let my x, wait, here. Okay, I want to let my x equals to, why I cannot write? I want to let my x equals to minus b over 2a. X equals to minus B over 2A, right? So let us check. My B, my A is 1, my B is -3, my C is -4, right? So let's say my B is -3, my 2A is 2 times 1. So isn't that I'm getting negative, negative, positive, and then 3 over 2 straight away? Isn't that I can get my X equals to 3 over 2, which is the same here. So this is a shortcut. Okay, but remember that because the question asking for this, you can never skip. Okay, because why? They told you they want for text form. But what can save you is you can do a quick double check just to make sure that you have got it. Okay, then the next one will be we solve more example, which you can review it back. These are all the completing the square. Remember, the more fear you have to it, right, the more you do. Then in the long run, it becomes a part of you. Okay, which is nothing to be feared anymore. All right. So then I teach you that the sketching of graph where you need to have the first step, identify the A. Second step, you can do the square minus policy to check the roots. And then the third step, you solve the minimum point or the maximum point, and then also you find out the roots. Okay, so that will become your axis of symmetry, and then your 3 points, which include also your y-intercept. Okay, so next one, we solve more questions to form completing the square, and then we sketch out the final answer. Then we solve one SPM question, okay, whereby they give you the 2 lines, and in this case, they didn't ask you to solve simultaneous equation, but instead they ask you to find the distance of KL, whereby you have to make use of the y coordinates of the points, okay, and you have to also understand that because all of them also have the x, which is m, okay, the x coordinate, which is m, so there's nothing to do. You only have to find the y coordinates, which helps you to find the distance of KL lah. Okay, so I hope that this question is good for you. And then the next one is to use the keyword maximum to make use of the maximum value, which is the y. So you have to do completing the square. The toughest part of maths is that it doesn't tell you which method to use. That's why you have to keep practicing so that from the keyword, you familiarize yourself on and also relate to the corresponding concept to use. Okay, and then part B is also the Sopor method. Okay, so the only thing that I can give you the what do you call that? The advice is that do a lot. You really have to do a lot so that you won't feel the fear. All right. So any more questions for today's lesson? Now it's 9:36 already. I'm a bit over time. Sorry for that. But any more questions? Can I see that? Have I helped you today? Can you respond to me whether is it helpful? Yeah, good, Michelle. Good, Rachel. I can see that Rachel has been very hardworking now. Very good. Okay, can I say yes? Okay. How about the rest of you, Anyu? Okay, very helpful. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of effort still on you. All right. So any more question you can always ask me. And today will be the last lesson for extra class. So after this, you have to focus more on your vision. Any questions you can always text me. All right. Yeah. Have a good weekend. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Yep.